Hello and welcome back to the Go For Two podcast, and welcome into our next preview. Today we're on to the best division in my heart, the AFC West. I'm Liam, your host, and as always I'm joined by my Super Bowl champion co-host, as of course, Mr. Muggs NFL. Patrick, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm very good. I was thinking earlier as I was coming on to doing the West, how the mighty have fallen, and we're doing this 3rd out of 8 this season.
I'm going to blame the other teams though, not my team for that one. Yeah, we've gone from doing it last, the Super Bowl champions, to we're into July now doing the Chiefs preview, which is a rarity. But there we go. So what happens, mate, when Cooper DeJean and the boys come into town?
That's right. Yeah.
We were just talking. We are officially 6 weeks? You said, wasn't it? Today.
6 weeks today. Yeah.
Yeah, to the first game, which you'll be there for, and then 8 weeks Sunday we'll be watching. Hopefully, Russell Wilson confirmed. By the way, we'll be watching Big Russ throw the ball against Spags. So yeah, that's exciting. Are you any further into the quarterback show on Netflix? Because I am into what they've just got beat by the Ravens, the Bengals. So I've watched a few more episodes. I'm quite enjoying it, to be honest, apart from maybe the Kirk Cousins storyline. But the rest of it, I'm enjoying. How far are you in?
Yeah, I think Kirk's been overdone, hasn't he? Because he was in the last one, but I've not got any further, to be honest with you. Which is a slight issue, maybe, on the characters on the show, but a little similar as I mentioned last time. But overall, it's a good show, isn't it? I thought the first season was great, but obviously I stopped halfway through. So maybe I'm waiting for the Bills training camp hard knocks. There seems to be a hard knock for every single portion of the season as well, doesn't there? So I actually don't. Are they the main team, the Bills, on this year's? Or is it like
yeah, they are, and then they're doing the thing where they do a whole division in season, aren't they? So the Bills are the main team, and then they're doing I don't know what division it is.
It's the East. It's the
it is yours. Yeah, they're doing that as probably from like week 10, 11, 12 normally. It's not normally the whole season.
Josh Allen love on this year's Hard Knocks.
Yeah, true. Very true. Who else? We've got Damar Hamlin, maybe heavily featured, potentially. James Cook contract holdout, that would be on there. But yeah, we'll see. We are going to try and keep to the tradition of the show by just talking about the division. I know there is some potential news around holdouts and Justin Fields' injury, for example, but we will be doing some kind of follow-up shows with different topics that aren't division previews, and we'll probably talk more about the news in those shows. So Chiefs have signed about 100 players, which I can sneak into this episode, but that's about as far as we go. Cool. So AFC West, we're going to do the same format. So talk about key additions to each team, coach and staff changes, win total, strength of schedule, and then reason or reasons to believe in that team, and then reason or reasons not to believe in that team. And then we're going to pick under, over in our win totals, and then division order, and then how many playoff teams. I'm running light on playoff teams for this division. Spoiler, because of an earlier decision I made. So we'll see what
juggernaut that is the AFC South.
I know. I was on a Power Rankings podcast yesterday where I had the Jags ranked quite high, and that didn't go down well, let's say. So yeah, I'm getting killed all over the place if the Jags have a bad season, but we'll see. Cool. We'll go in the order that the team finished in last year. So that is my Kansas City Chiefs at number one. I mentioned they've re-signed some players this offseason. So Trey Smith officially re-signed, Nick Bolton's re-signed, and George Karlaftis re-signed. They're quite big news for obviously that team. But in terms of additions, Josh Simmons in the first round of the draft to play left tackle was the biggest one. Jalen Moore in free agency to play left, right, or swing tackle. And then Christian Fulton was a big one to start at corner on the outside for the Chiefs. Coaching staff, same as every year we do this show. No change. Unfortunately for me, Matt Nagy is still the offensive coordinator. The win total for the Chiefs is 11.5, which is the joint highest in the NFL. And their strength of schedule is 27th. It is actually the only year we've done the show where they haven't been 31st or 32nd. So 27 sounds bad, but it's actually a slight increase. I'm sure I'll be slightly biased, mate. So let's go to you first. Reason to believe in the Chiefs, or reasons like what when you look at the roster, what are you thinking for this season for them?
The top level elite talent is still in place, right? You've got Mahomes, you've got Andy Reid, you've got McDuffie, you've got Chris Jones. You know how much I love Chris Jones over the years. when you got that level of elite talent, Spags is still there. You resisted any kind of move away. You're one of the favourites for the Super Bowl immediately when you kind of have that elite talent. You've got obviously Carl Loftus now is kind of moving into it from that very good to kind of elite level. I just feel like the talent is still there through the roster. And to be honest, like obviously won 2 Super Bowls in a row. Yeah, they lost against the Eagles in the Super Bowl. I think the fact that the way that the Super Bowl was lost to the Eagles has kind of carried through like certain fan bases, and the media, I would say, is kind of a little bit lower on the Chiefs as they normally would be. The win total, like you just said, is just as high as anyone that joined in the NFL. But the media wise, you kind of I watch a lot of like ESPN or CBS. They're just a little bit below on the Chiefs than they normally would be. And I honestly think that's just the manner of the Super Bowl loss. The elite talent for me is still there. And I would be shocked if they didn't get at least Final Four in the AFC. Like, it would be shocking, to be honest, if the Chiefs were even the AFC title game. What is it, 7 in a row?
Yeah.
6 or 7 is 7 in a row. What can you say? It'd be shocking if they weren't even in that. And we're talking about the AFC title game. So for me, the elite talent is still there. And yeah, I think they'll be right near where they need to be.
Yeah, I have seen a lot of what's that show? FS1, Colin Cowherd, those vibes. Chiefs not to finish in the playoffs, Chargers and Broncos to get in. I've seen a lot of that from the hot take shows. But yeah, I'm with you. The top talent is really good. I think there's a question around one of them definitely. Kelsey and Jones are both considerably like older than what you'd like for your best player to be. But Chris Jones still got plenty in the tank. Travis Kelsey was slowed down a bit last year, but we'll see if he can do it again this year. But yeah, you're right. I think I would have probably re-signed Justin Reed instead of Nick Bolton. But obviously Spags loves Nick Bolton. So in terms of like keeping their top players, they've done a good job of doing that. So I do think that's a reason to believe in them. For me, I think as well, the weapons. We said this last year that the weapons had got better. And we both like Worthy coming out. We both like Rice. And then obviously got hurt 4 weeks into the year. The same group is back now for the first time. It's the first year where I think 2 of Patrick Mahomes' top 3 wide receivers haven't changed. This is the first time in since Tyreek Hill trade where he's had the same group with Hollywood Brown, Worthy, and Rice. So I think for me, it's the consistency of the weapons. Even if Rice misses 3 or 4 games suspension, the Chiefs care about December, January, February. That's what they really care about. So for me, I think one of the reasons to believe is in the weapons. And then the last reason, again, apart from what we've all mentioned of top talent, head coach, Spags, is obviously a reason. I, as everyone knows on the show, love Josh Simmons. I think he was a great player in college. That injury, wasn't nice, but he's already fully healthy, starting left tackle in training camp. And I just think he's a really, he'll be the best left tackle Mahomes has ever played with if he can stay healthy. So I think that is a reason to believe in the Chiefs.
One thing I would say is I like the fact that the Chiefs have a super exciting player as like a fan to sit back and look at Xavier Worthy and bringing the best out of that. I mean, that throw in the Super Bowl, by the way, obviously it's never going to get spoken about because of the scoreline at the time. But I mean, that was an absolute rope that was thrown. And that's what he gives the offense. But you can put him in the backfield and he just doesn't do that. I love the excitement he brings. I think he's a big second-year player for the Chiefs this year. Obviously, the Rice thing's kind of maybe wipe a month to 6 weeks out. Obviously, we know Kelsey is kind of like waning. It could be his last year again. We spoke about that for a couple of years in a row. But I just think Xavier Worthy, he steps up that one notch more. That is one of the most dangerous weapons then in the AFC, I think.
Yeah, I do like the idea of him and Rice. Obviously, Rice is more of that intermediate yak. Xavier Worthy's more of that down the field gadgets type stuff. So I think they can work quite well together. They probably need Travis Kelsey to take some snaps, being that ex wide receiver, even though he's a tight end. But we'll see if he's got enough in his legs. But yeah, you're right. He played well down the stretch, Worthy. The whole playoffs, he was pretty good. So we'll see if he can take that into this season. What are the reasons for you then to not believe in them? Obviously, I've mentioned the left tackle as a positive. I think some people think the left tackle's probably a reason not to believe in them.
Yeah, there's a couple for me. One is a non-Chiefs issue, I would say. For me, the right tackle, it's not a great situation. I've kind of looked at the running back room and think that could have done with some more dynamism for sure in there. Elijah Mitchell signing for me is not particularly that exciting. You got Kareem Hunt, you got Pacheco there. I'm not sure what that kind of looking like early in training camp or anything. Brashard Smith was in the 7th round. I would have loved to have seen something more dynamic come in there. And I always feel like the Chiefs have done a great job running the football late in the season with the playoffs. Just think bringing out this same kind of room just with adding in Elijah Mitchell doesn't, for me, really cut it. But then on the opposite to that is, aside from the Chiefs roster, I just feel like so many close one-score games last season that the margin of error for Kansas City in the AFC feels smaller this season. I think maybe Baltimore have improved again, Buffalo have improved again. Because when we're talking about reasons to believe and not to believe, it's not like we're not judging the Chiefs on the same merits as the Titans, are we? This is Super Bowl, isn't it? Or it's nothing really.
Yeah.
You know, getting to the Super Bowl is the only expectations really that the Chiefs have. So I just feel that the margin of error in the AFC and in the division is lower. But no spoilers, I fully expect the Chiefs to win the division, but I think all three other teams have improved around them, making the division games harder. You've got the Bengals are going to be better. I just think the margin of error overall is smaller for Kansas City this season.
Yeah, I agree. I think they could win. They could win more games by a bigger margin, I think, this year, but then probably lose more games in total. If you know what I mean. Like,
Yeah,
I think there'll be those big swings in games where maybe they can't just pull it out at the end as much as they have in the past. You know, if a team can pull away from them a little bit. I think especially in the AFC, they've got quite a hard NFC. Apart from a couple of teams, they've got quite a hard NFC schedule this year as well. So I think I'm with you on other teams probably maybe improving more. I feel like last year the biggest issue for the Chiefs was injuries. The roster isn't that different this time. It's just younger, and they've obviously found a hopeful solution for left tackle, but the rest is very similar. It's just last year, after 3 or 4 weeks, you know, they were down to like having to play a left guard, a left tackle, 2 wide receivers were gone, and having to trade for DeAndre Hopkins. So it's just, I think that's the thing for them is that the other teams maybe have, like you said, caught up a little bit. I think you're right to call out right tackle a little bit. I hope Jalen Moore starts there, but for me, it was the running back room, same as you. They run the ball quite successfully, quote unquote, but a lot of that was because Patrick Mahomes had kind of bailed them out on 2nd and 10, and then it's 3rd and 1, and then it's easier to get a first down. But if you look, they were the lowest team in the NFL last year for explosive runs. What you said, that dynamism kind of wasn't there in the room. And again, Pacheco's been injured quite a lot in the last 18 months. They desperately need him to be healthy, or a Brashard Smith just to come out of nowhere as a 7th round pick. Because apart from that, I don't know what you're going to get apart from maybe a deadline trade, like a running back on a bad team, someone who they're giving up on. But I think that's it for me. And then last but not least was I think the pass rush is a question. George Karlaftis, I really like, so do you. Chris Jones, we both love. But apart from that, Charles Omenihu's really good when he plays, but he's up and down. Mike Danner, good against the run, but that's kind of it. I feel like they need one of their young pass rushers, whether it's Felix, whether it's Norman Lott, players like that. One of them has to play well. They don't have to be a superstar, but they have to play well. Because I think that's the part where I think these top quarterbacks in the AFC will be able to sit back against the Chiefs, and Spags will be resorted to having to blitz like crazy. I think that's the other one for me. Go.
No, I was just going to say, I think, especially when you get deeper into the season, that for me is the place where this is Chiefs trade for Uche last season, right? And it didn't work. I maybe would see, rather than a running back trade, something like that again, maybe happening late season trade.
Yeah. They'll definitely be active for sure. Cool. Let's do the win totals that we did last time as we go, rather than at the end. Chiefs 11.5. Tough one. Obviously, Andy Reid, I think, has beaten his win total every year, but 12 wins with his schedule could be more difficult. I'm obviously going over, but I'm biased. What are you thinking?
I'm going to go over, and I think it'll be close to over. This is a tough schedule, but I would say it would depend on the level that you get out of the NFC, right? I mean, we were talking Eagles week 2 in KC. We're talking Detroit as well in Kansas City. Washington is in Kansas City, on the road to Dallas. But for me, I'm going over. I like the games against the NFC at home. I would. If that was flipped around, maybe it would kind of be different. But it's a tough start. Both the Eagles and Chiefs have got a really hard start this year. I don't know how. Well, I mean, one of us is going to lose in week 2, aren't we? Anyway, but it's just, it's a tough start because you're on the road to the Chargers week 1 in Brazil, which anything could happen. So,
yeah, in the first 3 weeks, wouldn't shock me if one of those teams has lost 2 games.
Yeah,
I still fully think they'll catch up and, do you know what I mean, come back towards the end of the season. But yeah, you're right that it's a hard start for the Chiefs for sure. But yeah, I'm not sure it's a 15-win team like it has been in previous years, but all they'll care about is 1 or 2 seed and getting the playoffs. That'll be their goal. On to the Chargers, then we've got 3 playoff teams from last year in this division, by the way, that I completely forgot about. Chargers have done some work on offense. They've added Mekhi Becton from your Eagles to play right guard for them, or left guard actually. Trey Harris in the draft as well, ex-receiver. Probably went a little bit later, I think, than people thought. They've got Hampton as well in the first round. It was a bit of a surprise pick, running back to try and run the ball for Harbaugh. And then Najee Harris, which probably makes the Hampton pick slightly less exciting, but I know he's currently injured. On defense, they've added some corners because they've lost some in free agency. They added Dante Jackson and Benjamin St. Juice. Coaching staff is the same staff, including the OC, which maybe is a spoiler onto one of my answers in a minute. Their win total is 9.5, which I thought was higher than it was going to be for this team, looking at the other AFC teams. And their strength of schedule was 15th in the league, so bang on, nearly in the middle. The next 3 teams are actually all very similar in terms of strength of schedule. In terms of reasons to believe in them, I don't mind going first. As everyone knows, I'm a big Justin Herbert fan. Thought he played pretty well last year in that scheme. He wasn't as injured. I think one of the things goes kind of undersaid about him is he's been quite injury prone since we've been doing the pod. As much as I love him, he has big injuries. And he was relatively healthy down the stretch last year, played quite well at the end of the season. I know the playoff game was a bit of a nightmare, but a lot of that was on the offensive line. So I think for me, Justin Herbert's a reason to believe. I still like the tackles as well on offense, even though they played really bad in the playoff game. And I do obviously like the head coach. I think that's kind of the, not quite, Chiefs level, but I like the DC, I like the head coach, and I like the quarterback. So I think for me, that's one of the main reasons to believe in them. But I think this year I've maybe got a few more reasons to not believe in them. What about you? What are you believing in for the Chargers?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, defensive side of the ball, they've been pretty elite. I mean, there's 17.7 points per game last season straight away under Harbaugh's great. But right, so what you spoke about the offensive line there, you still like the tackles. I think the tackles are really good. Right, if your general consensus of your NFL fan would say the Chargers have got a good offensive line, I think they've got 2 really good cornerstones. And then the middle of the offensive line last season was awful, like literally terrible. But they had a great backbone at tackle. Adding in Becton, I think he was, by the way, great for the Eagles at guard. Adding him in at guard, I feel like that is going to improve that middle of the offensive line. And for me, that is my biggest reason. That you got 2 brand new running backs, like you said. You got Harris. It's an odd one for me when you're going to pick a running back in the first round to then go Najee Harris as well. So we'll see how that works there. For me, it's adding in Becton then with Bradley Bozeman and Zion Johnson. I think that room then should take a level up, and I think will help, especially with how Harbaugh wants to play on offense.
Yeah, I think there's a few points there. I think you bang on at the end. I think Mekhi Becton especially fits exactly how Harbaugh wants to play. I think he tried to recruit him in college. Tried to recruit Najee Harris. There's quite a famous story about where he was choosing to go and chose. It was Alabama, wasn't it, that he went to?
Yeah,
he chose Alabama at the airport because he ran into Tua, apparently is the story at the airport, and that was when he decided which team to go to. But I am a little bit worried about that. But I do think they're set up well to run the ball protects maybe Bozeman and Zion Johnson against the pass a little bit. But yeah, they're just a weird offensive line. 2 tackles I love, and I like Zion Johnson in college. But then in the playoff game, I think it's against Houston, maybe, they were awful. Like even the tackles, like Slater was getting killed by, I think it was Will Anderson. But on paper, I agree with you. I think they're really, really good, and Mekhi Becton should help, and they'll be able to run the ball. I think center is the key one. It's like feels like they need to just nail that. And Bozeman, ex-Ravens, played for Greg Roman before. It feels like, at least in the run game, that center position should stop being a problem because, yeah, since Corey Linsley kind of got hurt, it's just been a disaster. It just feels like every time when they play the Chiefs, for example, I know, okay, Chris Jones is probably going to get off and be in Justin Herbert's face within like 2 seconds. And it just feels like maybe this year that might not be the case. What's your thoughts on Jesse Minter? Because that was the other thing written down on my reasons to believe. He's probably the next big kind of defensive coordinator, really, that's might be in line for a head coach role. Like, what do you think he can do on defense? Was last year a bit of an anomaly with that unit because he didn't have great players, but this year, can he do the same again?
It's rare, I suppose, to be kind of ranked so highly overall on defense for the young talent that they've got. It's not a lot of the young talent built through the draft that are mid-round picks. You're talking like 3 to 5 was a lot of the starters that came from that. So I don't know. The talent level always in the end of your cycle of a team always either wins out or loses out for you. And they take that step back, you've got to worry about that overall record of the team. I think if the defense takes a step, obviously you got Minter there. Obviously Jim Harbaugh, it feels like, he was a quarterback, but he feels like a defensive style.
Yeah.
The way he's kind of set it up. I am worried about the talent, to be honest with you. Best player, obviously, Derwin James, so injury prone. The pass rush is very, very young. I don't know. It feels to me like when we were talking last year, it was saying, yeah, Harbaugh's going to do like a mini rebuild and it's not going to be perfect in year one. Now, when they made the playoffs, they looked pretty good at times, or they got smashed in the playoffs. But I feel like I'm not sure that the rebuild has kind of taken the next level in this offseason, to be honest with you, especially on defense. Yeah, I'd be slightly worried, to be honest with you, that he's not going to improve on last year.
Yeah, if they're as good as they were last year in the statistics, he's almost a guaranteed head coach candidate with talent, I think, for sure. I know we kind of leaned then towards not to believe, but we haven't mentioned one of their best players. So quickly, Lad McConkey, stats are incredible. All the shows I watch, Matt Harmon, who does a lot of work on wide receivers, think of Perceptions, his website. Everyone's saying McConkey could be a top 10, 15 type wide receiver this year. His numbers were that good last year. I think if that happens, then the offense could be good enough, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. In terms of reasons not to believe in them, for me, it's the help around McConkey. I'm a bit worried about their other weapons. Mike Williams retired, didn't he, I think, the other day. Trey Harris, I didn't love in college, but, he could easily prove me wrong. I didn't love Amon-Ra St. Brown, and he's turned out to be a really good NFL player. But yeah, I think it's the secondary weapons in the pass game. Greg Roman, for me, I would have made a change there. I know Harbaugh loves him, but I just don't think he is right for modern day NFL football as an OC. And then last but not least, just what you said, I think the defensive talent is not great. I think the linebacker room and the defensive line is young. And I'm just not sure they're quite there yet. I think, again, Chargers fans seem to be surprised they didn't spend more money this year. And I think when you look at the depth chart, I think it says that at those key positions. So wide receiver 2 and 3, defensive line, secondary. I think it just looks a bit of a sort of roster where Justin Herbert's probably going to have to play extremely well for them to have double-digit wins, to me, it feels like.
Yeah, well, mine was the wide receiver room because for something specific, as I was waiting for you to come on, I was on here for 5 minutes before. I had a little scroll on Twitter and I saw Quentin Johnson drop a wide open pass in training camp. And I'm like, what can you do there? Lad McConkey is only going to carry you so far. I mean, Jalen Reagor, we're talking about wide receiver 4 now. And Trey Harris is going to have to be a lot better than he was in college to up that room to a decent level. I mean, it's not NFL standard level if you look past Lad McConkey. And the tight end room is, again, very serviceable. They've had a Tyler Conklin in the off-season. He feels like a Harbaugh tight end, but there's no dynamism there at all. And I don't know how good a Mario Hampton is going to have to be early in the season to kind of get the Chargers going. But I was so up on the Chargers last season, to be honest. It's almost a disappointment, isn't it? Because I feel like I want all teams to improve, because we talk about it on a weekly basis. It's not just for me, the Eagles and the Chiefs. Do you know what I mean? I like to see franchises kind of improve, and I love Jim Harbaugh, but yeah, just not feeling the kind of the roster build this offseason.
Yeah, they definitely took a step back deliberately to rebuild, and it just feels like it's not quite happened yet. And again, adding a running back in the first round when you have your first chance to rebuild is like a unique statement, but probably fits quite well with their offense. It's just, will he be good enough to make a difference? And will Najee Harris nick loads of his snaps? I'm not sure. Obviously, he's also got the eye injury story. Seems like a weird one for Najee Harris. They're not really talking about it, but we'll see what that leads to. But yeah, I was a bit disappointed. Same as you. I thought they'd spend a lot more in free agency. Cool. Win total then, 9.5 wins. They won more than this last year. You're going to need to win more than this in the AFC to make a wild card. I'd be shocked if a AFC wild card team had 9 wins. Are you going under or over for the Chargers?
I'm going to go under. I think it'll be close. I'm going to go under. I mean, when I say they've got a horrific start, I don't mean that in terms of the teams on the schedule. They start Chiefs, Raiders, Broncos, and you go 3 divisional games, 50% of your divisional games off the bat. Hey, you have to have a positive record after those 3 games for you to even stand a chance in your own division after 3 weeks. So that, for me, it's really, really difficult. They've got a nice soft schedule that comes after that until it gets a bit more trickier again with kind of the Eagles, Chiefs, Cowboys, Texans, Broncos to finish. I'm going to go under, and I think they're going to struggle in the divisional games. However, week 1 for me in Brazil, if the turf, I don't know what that's going to be like, but the Eagles-Packers game last year was, you could take nothing from it because it was so crazy in the way that kind of the game played out, and both teams kind of didn't look themselves, especially on defense. So week 1 maybe is up for grabs, but overall I'm going to have to go under.
I could see them winning in week 1 and that being like the story of week 1. But
yeah,
I could see that. I could see that happening for sure. They do play the Chiefs well. I've gone for under as well. I was really debating hard with this. With this group, but I have to try and correlate some of my picks, which is a spoiler to later. But I can't be having the Chargers and the Broncos going 11-12 wins with certain playoff predictions I'm about to make. So I've gone under, but I think it's going to be, I'd be surprised if they don't win 8, 9 or 10 games. If they win 11 or they win 7, I would be surprised. I think they're that sort of team. And they need a good summer next year to really give Herbert everything to go at, because you don't want to waste not just him, but the amount of money he's going to cost. You don't want to waste that contract as well with an average roster, especially when your coaching staff's a little bit older as well, potentially. Cool. On to the other team that made the playoffs, which again, my brain, when we do this every year, I forget how many teams have who made the playoffs and who didn't. But the Broncos, they've been a bit of a darling, I think, of the offseason this year so far. They've been ranked quite highly and everything. Key additions for them, so Evan Ingram, a man of your own heart from the NFC East back in the day at tight end. J.K. Dobbins is signed as well from the Chargers. And then they added R.J. Harvey, who's an ex-wide receiver playing running back now from the draft. On defense, they added some 49ers. So Dre Greenlaw and Hufanga came over from the 49ers, which are good additions. And then Jahdae Barron as well on defense, who's a corner, just to even add more depth to that secondary, which looks really good on paper. Coaching staff, again, same. No changes, a lot of consistency in the first 3 teams here. And their win total is also 9.5, the exact same as the Chargers. And their strength of schedule is 14th, so 1 place better than the Chargers, so slightly easier, but not much difference. Did without spoiling your pick for later, did the win total 9.5 surprise you being the same as the Chargers?
No, I don't think so. No, I'd see those teams probably kind of predicted middling like that. I don't think you could kind of put one a full game ahead of each other. Do you know what I mean? In kind of
Yeah, I feel like their game's going to be good this year as well, and important
yeah.
when the Chargers Broncos play. I think it's going to be important. Let's go on the positive side, as we always try and do. Reasons to believe in them. What are your reasons to believe in the Denver Broncos for this year?
Bringing back Vance Joseph for one, defensive coordinator. I mean, the defense was so good last year. I remember just how much I kind of really enjoyed it second half of the season. Real change around, by the way. He's not in any of my notes at all, but Sean Payton, he turned it around after a bad first year where I thought it was going to real go south. So it looks like he's a good hire, by the way. But Vance Joseph coming back, adding Dre Greenlaw I really like, adding Barron I really liked. Got Pat Surtain already, maybe number one in the NFL. The defense for me doesn't feel like it's going to miss a beat. So that for me is so important for something else I kind of want to discuss later. But I just think added in good talent, they've already got solid depth throughout the roster. Just think they're not reliant on super young players either this season. Only probably Barron's going to be a starter from the draft. Everything else is kind of just depth there. If that defense doesn't miss a beat, I think it's a great defense, probably top 5 in the NFL. And I mean, it can carry you a long, long way for that. I just think a question to open up is, I know that the kind of Denver have been like darlings of the offseason. I have seen that they can challenge the Chiefs for the division. The defense probably has to be top 3 for that. And the Chiefs definitely can't win 15 games. But I do think there's a small possibility that they could challenge. I'm not saying there's a massive one, but I think it's a small possibility. This is probably one of my favourite teams for the offseason, I would say.
Yeah, it's strange because I still believe in like the Chargers ceiling more because of who's playing quarterback. But I think the Broncos' floor is high. Like if they didn't win 7 games, it'd be a complete shock, I think, to a lot of people because the roster is good. The defense is really good, top 5, definite potential. A lot of people have been putting them top 1, like best defense probably, which I agree with. I think they could easily be the best. On paper, they're really good. I think 2 of their defensive linemen are out of contract this year, so this is kind of the year for that unit to come together and be as good as they were last year. They've added Barron, who we both liked in the draft. I don't know if he'll start or not, but if he doesn't, your fourth quarterback being a player as good as that would just be, fourth cornerback would just be mental. I imagine he'll probably start in the nickel or something. But yeah, the defense is elite. I think the other reason to believe, Sean Payton, we mentioned, great job, but the offensive line as well. I think their offensive line and their defense in general could both be top 5 in the AFC. Maybe the offensive line is not as good to be top 5 in the NFL. Maybe it is, but they could easily be top units. And I think that in modern day NFL, that's super important just to be, again, for your floor. Maybe we'll talk about why I don't think the ceiling's quite as high in a minute. But yeah, I think the offensive line and defense is really, really good. And again, they're kind of lucky probably that Vance Joseph is, a bit of an older retread coach because him and Jesse Minter did similar jobs. And I know which one's probably going to get more interviews next year. It'll be Jesse Minter, right? Because he's younger, hasn't failed before in that role, whereas Vance Joseph has. So yeah, I'm with you. I think they're a very, very good team. I just think there's a couple of key positions that we're talking about in a minute, but they definitely have one of the best off seasons, I think, in the entire NFL. What do you make of? I don't know if this will be a bad. This will lead us to talk bad reasons, but I think the offensive line's good. Let's ignore the pass game. What do you make of the run game? It's very up and down last year to start the season. Towards the end of the year, it was amazing. Sean Payton's known for having a good run game. With this line, it should be good, but how good do you think it can be?
Yeah, Dobbins. He's injured all the time. RJ Harvey's going to have to do a lot of heavy lifting as it goes along. Yeah. Jaleel McLaughlin, by the way, is he always dips in. Like he obviously came in 23. He was undrafted, but he's popped in for kind of both seasons at 2 or 3 weeks at a time and looked pretty good. But he seems to be kind of down on the depth chart. Estime was okay at times last season. I'm not a massive J.K. Dobbins fan on kind of team like this because you can't rely on him kind of from week to week. So, but the line is there. I just wish that there would a more stable. I don't know what RJ Harvey is obviously going to look like in the NFL. I just wish there was a more stable kind of 1-2 punch there. Dobbins is going to be great if he's healthy, but it's that health, isn't it, that we just don't know. Well, we do know because we've seen it.
That's the problem.
That's the issue.
Yeah, I think we do know it's unlikely, isn't it, to look good. But never know. But yeah, he'll have peaks and troughs, right? He'll have a week with 100 rushing yards, and everyone's raving about him and then he might miss 3 weeks. That's just what it is. Did you like RJ Harvey in college? I can't remember us talking about him in the draft.
Yeah, we didn't talk about him massive amount, did we? Yeah, round 2 pick. Is it a little? I'm not sure. We're going to find out. I liked him in college, but I feels like he's going to have to be a real contributor straight off the bat.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, he's going to have to play definitely on passing downs at worst. That's just I feel like that's what he's going to have to do. Reasons not to believe in them. Then I have one reason I'm skeptical on, but there's some bias for me in this division. So why don't you go? You liked the Broncos last year. You liked them all off season. What are your reasons not to believe in them?
Is it a reason not to believe? I don't know. I'm kind of, maybe we've got the same one, to be honest with you, because there's a big name that we've not obviously spoken about yet. And it's more of a kind of a discussion to say, can Bo Nix, does he have what it takes, right, to go to the level of what is needed late in the season in the playoffs? Obviously, he's probably somebody that when we do these pods, I don't deep dive on specific just one player and kind of that, but Bo Nix in the off season kind of goes hand in hand with fantasy football, where I've been trying to maybe drafting Bo Nix in a few more drafts than I want to. I mean, his PFF grade was 85 when he was kept clean, and when he was under pressure, it dropped to under 40. And for me, that tells the tale of teams' defensive coordinators have had one season to look at that. They know. I mean, Sean Payton, I'm sure will have him prepared, but they know if you put Bo Nix under pressure, he's likely not an NFL quarterback. You leave him clean, he'll make smart decisions. I mean, some of his completion rates were almost 90% in a couple of games last year and against the NFC South teams. I think the Chiefs game at the end of the season, I think it was like 90% or something against the Chiefs backups. But it's like that line can keep him clean. He will make smart decisions. It's not going to be the most dynamic 35-yard air pass down the field, but it's going to be smart and it's going to move the chains all the time. I just don't know whether he has the level to go to be able to improve in the pocket when he's under pressure to become, I don't know where you would stick him in terms of good, great, or whatever. I just don't know whether he has it inside of him to improve in the pocket, to be honest, to become the great quarterback. If he becomes a great quarterback, this team can go far in the AFC. You know, I really actually don't know. I am quite conflicted as to where his level is, because he is much better than I thought. We had this conversation a year ago, and I was like, Tyler Shuff coming in, but it's like,
I was going to say, let's rewind and go back to the Saints chat when you
exactly. We might be saying that, but yeah, for me, I'm really conflicted. The under pressure stats worry me.
Yeah, 100%. And again, we just spoke about their offensive line, right? So it should be good. We agree it should be good. But this was one of the healthiest teams, and we can't every preview for every team we can talk about health. We try not to bang on about it too much, but they were one of the healthiest, I think third healthiest team in the AFC last year. If the offensive line is the area of the team that struggles for health, touch wood for them, it doesn't. You don't want anyone to get injured. But if that's the case, he's just not the quarterback that's going to overcome stuff like that. It's just not in his nature. So yeah, I'd like to see him start the season better. His stats towards the end of the year were much better than the beginning. The schedule obviously softened up as well around the same time. So I think if he starts the season well, maybe he's proved a few people wrong. But yeah, definitely better than I thought he was. No, neither of us really liked him. But yeah, can he take that next step, or is he? I don't know what a hot take or unhot take is, but is he the 20th quarterback in the NFL, or does he take a step and he's the 13th? Because that doesn't sound like a big difference, but the top 8-9 guys are really, really good. if Bo Nix is the 11th best quarterback in the NFL, this team can go really far. That's how good the defense is. But yeah, I don't think we're going to know until a few weeks into the season. And again, strength of schedule we've already spoke about, but they start with Titans on the road. They should win that game. Colts at home, they should win that game. Chargers at home, that's a game in division, and then the stretch schedule gets a bit tougher for a couple of weeks. But those first 3 games, that's the opportunity there for Bo Nix to come out and play well and set a stall out and the offense be good. So we'll see. I quickly want to mention, kind of gone a bit long on the Broncos, but the other position, wide receiver, I think they could have done a bit more in the weapons department. I like Evan Ingram as an addition, but I think they could have done a bit more. I like Cortland Sutton, but I'm not 100% sure. He's also relatively injury prone, getting older and plays a lot of just pure X receiver, and him and Bo Nix had a good connection. But I think for me, the offense maybe is a weapon short just to help elevate a quarterback that I don't think is great. But again, you can't fix everything in one off season. But yeah, I'm a bit worried about the wide receiver 2 and 3 position.
Yeah, we get too deep in the playoffs. Who's going to be your guy if Sutton is not going to get open on every kind of snap? Who goes? Who's your guy? Really like Evan Ingram signing, though. I will say that. I think that is going to help them a lot. It's just, I think when I said I like the Broncos maybe in the off season as much as anyone, I still got trepidation there, as in, do I believe that they're going to look at that easy schedule that you just read out, Titans, Colts, Chargers, and go 3-0. I'm not fully confident that I think that they can kind of do that straight away. But, to get over to the win total to challenge the Chiefs, you have to go 3-0 there. It's just, you have to, Kansas City would go 3-0 there. So it's like, you have to kind of match that, don't you, ECA?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think their only other chance is to beat the division Chiefs probably twice in division for that. But yeah, we'll see. They've got some fun games this year as well. I think they're a Boxing Day game, and they end the season on the road to Chargers. That could have playoff implications. That's a fun game. So yeah, we'll see with the Broncos. 9.5 win total, mate. You going over or under?
I'm going over. I'm just going to go over. Yeah, I think you get double digits.
It's a spoiler for our division order. I've gone under 9.5. Yeah, couldn't go over because I got the mighty Jags in the playoffs, so couldn't go over. But I think again that'll be very, very close to that. I think a lot of it will come down towards the end of the season when they've got the Chiefs on. That's Christmas Day, actually. I just realised it's on 1 a.m. Christmas. They go. Ironically for me, they go Jaguars, Chiefs, Chargers. They're probably the weeks.
That's a big week for you, there, isn't it? The Jags and then the Chiefs.
I'll get my Clemson Trevor Lawrence jersey out of the wash, and we'll be fine. Last but not least, then the Raiders, the team in this division with the most change throughout the offseason. On offense, they've added Geno, a quarterback, which is a big addition. Alex Kappa as well to play offensive line to shore up that interior, and then Genti as well, that early pick on offense in the first round, a player that everyone's excited about. On defense, they've added quite a lot of veterans. So Jermaine Pratt, Jeremy Chin, Eric Stokes, Devin White, a lot of veteran players on one-year deals have been added to that defense. And they also made Max Crosby the highest paid rusher in the NFL for about 2 weeks. And now he's 5th already. So coaching staff-wise, complete changes. Pete Carroll's in as the head coach, which is really cool. I don't know how old he is, but he's 70-something, and to get him back in the NFL is amazing. Chip Kelly as well, ex-Eagles legend. They're coming in from Ohio State as the OC, and then actually kept the same defensive coordinator because he had a relatively good season last year with a pretty bad unit. They definitely played better than the names on the roster said they should have. Their win total is 6.5, so 3 games lower than the 2 teams we just chatted about, and their strength of schedule is 18th. So again, they finished 4th last year, but the strength of schedule is never going to be great when you've got to play the 3 teams we just spoke about twice. It's tough for the Raiders. And also the AFC West has got a hard NFC schedule for this year. Reasons to believe in them then. It's got to be Pete Carroll. We both love a bit of Pete. It's a win-now move for a team I'm not sure the roster is quite ready to win now. But he's a win-now coach. He's a very good coach. And then for me, I think the other one is Geno Smith. I think the Seahawks should have kept him. I think he's underrated. Yeah, he's not a top 8 quarterback, but he might be the 12th best quarterback. And I think that's something the Raiders haven't been able to say for a long time. So for me, I think Pete Carroll, Geno Smith, and of course, when you've got Genti in the backfield, hopefully knowing Pete Carroll, probably taking far too many touches, but for his career, but it'll be great for us to watch for a year. So yeah, I think that's my reasons. I think the run game should be good, quarterback should be good, head coach should be good, and defensive coordinator should be good. So for me, I think they've improved the floor of this team quite dramatically from last season.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. Definitely. The biggest thing for me was, I mean, you touched on it with Carroll there, but also new GM. They recognized that they needed to clean house, right? And they've got some real, actual, proper leadership that's come into the organization, which I love. Tom Brady feels like he's got his hands over a lot of things in the organization. We'll find out whether that's good or bad down the line. We don't know that yet. So, he's not playing quarterback, is he, anymore? So we'll kind of find out about that. But I love the leadership changeover, to be honest. And I think you can see that in the defensive free agent signings, just veteran. I like Stokes, I like Chin in the secondary that they've kind of added there, Jermaine Pratt as well. But you know what? I just feel like you said, the floor has been risen, right? How far away are they realistically from the Chargers and the Broncos? I think with Geno Smith, the wide receivers, he's quite young. They've got a few kind of rookies on there that maybe lean on. But with Genti, I think it's going to hit the ground running. You got Brock Bowers with Geno Smith. It feels like they could be pretty good. And how far away is that from the Chargers, and Denver? For me, it feels like probably not that far.
On paper, it feels closer, I think, than it's probably ever been for those guys. And Brock Bowers, what's he? Probably the best player, if you ignore quarterbacks, the best player on the offense of any of those three teams, I would say.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, yeah.
Genti has the chance to be the best, like better than Brock, potentially. So, yeah, I'm with you. What do you think of the offensive line from that perspective, though? So you've got Genti, you got Brock, you got Geno, a bit of an older player. Pete Carroll's going to want to run the ball like hell. Chip Kelly likes to run the ball. Is the offensive line up for it? Because I like it on paper more to run block than I do pass block.
Yeah, I mean, Alex Kappa come over from Cincinnati, could help in that department. Listen, I mean, we know it's not great. However, what I would say, you're not going to fix everything in one off season, right? So it's like, I think the level that they've improved overall is really good. Like the Kappa signing, Powers Johnson that they got his second year. He was in the second round, weren't he, last year at centre? So you kind of get some improvement out of that. It's a pretty young line in spots, but Colin Miller, left tackle, middling NFL left tackle, right? But it's just, I feel like Chip Kelly could ask them to do a lot of things that they've maybe not done in their career. He can be quite odd at times. There'll be a lot of running the ball, though, right? Which is why I was very surprised, by the way, when we're talking running backs, that they signed Raheem Mostert to back up Genti. Pretty old. He had a lot of miles on the tread. So that was kind of a surprising signing. Good down near the goal line, though, to be honest with you. Fantasy football players won't want to hear that from Genti's kind of goal line snaps, but most of it is good down the goal line.
Two explosive players there as well. Pete Carroll normally likes that big guy just to take a load of snaps off the shoulders of the athletes, but he's just going for two athletes. So, yeah, Genti better be ready to take some snaps because that man's going to touch the ball. He's going to be like Saquon Barkley 2.0 this year in terms of how many times he's going to touch the ball.
Yeah,
they're just going to run him into the ground. Other reasons to believe in them. I know there's some injury for Christian Wilkins at the moment, so we'll see what that looks like. But on paper, defensive line is good. Tyree Wilson, hasn't worked out, but isn't a terrible player. And Malcolm Kuntz, I think, is underrated. And then you've got Wilkins and obviously Max Crosby there. I think that defensive line, is good, and it needs to be good in this division. Like, I think that defensive line, even though we like the Broncos tackles, we like the Chargers tackles, I like the Chiefs left tackle, I still think that defensive line will get plenty of pressure in this division in the AFC. So I think that's the other strength is that, there's a couple of pieces on offense. We like the coaching staff, but I do think the defensive line could stop the defense being terrible, which I think there's some names in a minute we'll talk about or maybe why that is. But I think the defensive line's good.
Yeah, no, I would agree with you. I mean, when you got Max Crosby on the, like you said, eyes paid for 2 weeks. kind of deserved his deal, though, didn't he? I'm glad he didn't get traded. That was a lot of talk last year, even though Philadelphia was one of the names that kept popping up. I like him as a Raider, to be honest with you.
He would have been a good Lion, though. He would have been a good Lion. Not for you, not for your rivalry.
Interested in the Detroit.
Yeah, you hated Dan Campbell from the start, and it's
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Going on. Cool. Reasons not to believe in them. I've kind of hinted at it. Patrick Graham did a good job as DC. I know you like some of the older sign-ins on defense. I'm a bit worried about the defense. It's a lot of older guys. It's a lot of injury-prone guys, and it's a lot of like late-round draft picks. I think the linebacker room with the age and the secondary room with the ability could be quite bad. Probably the worst in this division. I think if there's any games where the pass rush isn't getting home, I think Gino's going to have to score 30 points to win, is my concern. So I think that's probably my concern. And then, just is the approach of win now right for the players, this group of players? Could it all kind of implode just because that's what they're set up for? And is it ready? I'm not quite sure. But for me, I think the main reason is just, anything on defense behind the defensive line, I'm just not sure about.
It's going to have to do some heavy lifting, the defensive line, in it, whatever happens. But what mine is, what you've just alluded to there, kind of the win now mode. You win now mode, Pete Carroll's in his 70s. He's not going anywhere to rebuild, is he? He wants to come in and win some football games. And you just said, Geno Smith's going to have to score 30 points. You look at the wide receiver room, right? I like Jacoby Myers. I do like Jacoby Myers. After that, it is full of rookies. There is not one kind of veteran presence there. I mean, Trey Tucker's only coming into his third year in the league. Got kind of Jack Beck there, Dante Thornton Jr., you got Tommy Mel, all from the draft this year. What are you betting on that one of those you hit the jackpot with someone there and they can become an NFL rotational starter straight away? Man, I'm not so sure about that. That for me is the biggest worry there. I mean, you're talking then, all you're talking is your offense is just Brock Bowers and Genty. That's great. It's not Madden though, is it? It's real life NFL football in a really, really tough division. So for me, that's just, I can see why they've added loads of veteran presence. Quite like some of the add-ins on defense. I get that they're old. They could really struggle to cover on defense with kind of like coming over the middle, but then flipping it to offense, I just think, I'm not sure you've got enough to win now as much as you think that you want to do.
I will say the positive on defense is, I think the players I'm not as keen on, I think they'll be good against the run. I think the linebackers, nickel, they'll be good against the run, and the Chargers and Broncos are going to run it like mad.
Yeah.
And some of the teams they're playing in the other team, so they've got the Colts, they're going to run it a lot. The Commanders are going to run it a lot. The Patriots are going to run it a lot. The Browns are going to run it a lot. Like on their Eagles are going to run it a lot. Like there's some teams on that where you think maybe they could slow teams down that want to run the ball a lot. But yeah, I'm with you. Covering is going to be an issue. I do think they're going to have to be a bit Madden-y, by the way. I think it is going to be, the tight end. Yeah, the tight end and the running back going to get a lot of touches. So will Jacoby Myers. I think those three players, if you like Geno Smith, they're good fantasy football players because they're just going to get loads of touches, like between the three of them. I guess it seems like Jack Beck is going to be the one that people seem to be most confident in. But yeah, you're right. Someone needs to come out of the pack, don't they? And don't have to be a great player, but they need to be a reliable, good player.
Serviceable is what you need.
But it wouldn't shock me if Geno just peppers Bowers. Would it shock you if Geno just peppers Bowers 12 targets a game?
No, not at all. Not one bit. It would not do that. No. I just love Brock Bowers, by the way. Not only is a great player, I love his haircut. It's just the fact he's what is he, like 24? He's got 3 strands of hair left. And have you seen, by the way, obviously Brock Bowers came from Georgia. Do you know anything about the Georgia quarterback, Gunnar Stockton? He is the spitting image of Brock Bowers. He also has 2 hairs on his head. So I'm not sure what's happening at Georgia to be honest with you. But yeah,
bad hairlines and bad drivers at Georgia. Those two
absolutely, yeah.
are the issues. Cool. Let's go. Let's go win total then. 6.5. I've gone over 6.5. I could see a couple of division wins. It's for me. I think it is, and it's a cop out. This is why it's set at 6.5. But I think it's going to be 6 or 7, and I'm just going to lean 7 for the fun of it. I like some of their players, like the head coach, and obviously really like Gino. So yeah, I'll go over. I don't think they're going to win 10 games, but I think they could win 7 or 8.
I'm going over. You know me, ever the optimist when it comes to the silver and black. So I'm going. Once a year, we're going to do this podcast, and the Raiders are going to be at least pretty good. Surely it's going to happen.
They are like your Rams for me, by the way, of how much you love the Raiders.
I love this.
2 seasons ago, we had a running joke. You picked the Raiders 6 out of 7 weeks. They didn't cover the spread in any of those weeks, but it didn't matter. Next week, you were picking the Raiders no matter who they were against. And ironically, I think the game they covered was against the Chiefs after all. But yeah, you are a sneaky Raiders fan. Cool. That's the 4 teams then. So let's go division order, and then how many playoff teams. I'll start. Division winner, Kansas City Chiefs again. I think they're trying to catch the Brady Patriots for the record. I think it'll be closer than last year because the Chiefs won't win as many games, but I don't think it'll be close enough where we're in the last 2 weeks of the season thinking it's a race. So yeah, I think it'll be closer because the Chiefs win less games, but I'll go Chiefs.
No, I agree with you there. And what you just said, for me, echoes what I think. We're closer when you look at it after, when we come back and we look at the 2025 season, and maybe there's only a couple of games in it, it still wasn't a race at the end of the season. That, for me, feels like, so that sums up how I feel about it. So, obviously, Chiefs for me.
Second team, we've definitely got a different team there because we've picked different under-over totals. So I've gone Chargers as my second team. Just can't quit. Can't quit the 4th best quarterback in the NFL, which is Justin Herbert. Can't quit him. So yeah, I think I know where you're going for second division.
Yeah, I'm going Denver. I'm going Denver second. What I will say is what you just said about Herbert is true. And also, you know, where do you put Jim Harbaugh on the kind of the coaching ranks? He could be right up there as well. So, you know, you got that combination can kind of drag you up there. I think it will be close still between the two maybe. But I just like Denver, to be honest. I hope to have faith that Bo Nix can kind of improve about what we spoke about earlier about the pressure. So I'm gonna go Denver.
Cool. And then the third team, I have gone Denver, which means I've got the Raiders in 4th. But again, I think 2nd and 4th are going to be quite tightly bunched this year. I think it's going to be a tough division to win games. So that means I picked the exact same order, unfortunately, as last year. So Chiefs 1, Chargers 2, Broncos 3, Raiders 4. You've gone Chiefs 1, Broncos 2. And what order have you gone the other 2?
You know what? I could have gone the Raiders here because
I thought you were going to.
No, I'm not going to. I'm not brave. I'm going to go Raiders 4th. However, I've gone over and I've gone under for the Chargers. If I think a likely scenario is that the Chargers do take a step back and the Raiders can take a step forward, I like the Raiders' schedule on paper. So it just feels like could be close there. I'd love the Raiders to not come bottom.
You sound like a man who wants to pick the Raiders. You should do it.
I do feel like it. But you know what? Like you said, you've got Herbert, you've got Harbaugh. How bad really are you going to be? So for me, it's still going to be there. I'm going to go 3rd then, and then obviously Vegas 4th.
Nice. And then playoff teams. I've
got loads of numbers to play with here.
I'm stuck, but I'm going 1. I can't go under Chargers. 9 wins to say they get in the playoffs. So the Chiefs are your only AFC West playoff team this year.
I'm going 2. You're giving me Denver, and I can't remember a lot about their game against Buffalo last year, but I can remember. What I can remember is it didn't excite me a great amount.
It did the first play. Don't you remember the first play was a bomb?
I remember texting you that actually.
Yeah, and then after that it was a beatdown. I'm afraid.
Yeah.
So yeah, they should. In theory, more experienced team, they should do better. But we'll find out. I think they're going to be the ninth seed or something like that, and just miss out. Cool, but that's it for today's pod. So yeah, under overs, just a reminder, we've both gone Chiefs over 11.5. Both gone under Chargers 9.5. I've gone under Broncos 9.5. Patrick's gone over Broncos 9.5. We've both gone over Raiders 6.5. I've gone for one playoff team, which is the Chiefs. Patrick's gone for two playoff teams, which is the Chiefs and the Broncos. So we'll see. Those Jags, got to beat the Broncos. Got to beat the Broncos. Our next episode will be going over to the NFC. So we're doing NFC West. So we get to talk my favorite NFC team after we've just spoken Patrick's favorite AFC team. Remember to go follow us at Go42Pod on Twitter/X. Go check out our YouTube channel as well, which is just Go42Pod. You can find these pods as videos on there if anyone hasn't started watching them yet. Enjoy the quarterback. Enjoy training camp. Hopefully your team don't get any annoying ACL injuries. And we will speak to you guys soon.
Speak to you soon, everyone.